All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are dialing in from. My name is Geraldine and I go by Jem. I am one of the community managers here representing Zelda Nordic Languages Review Center. A short intro about myself in the Philippines, specifically Makati and Quezon City. We are a Philippines based language instruction company and we were tasked by a recruitment agency which could be Silk Road or one of their partners like Africa Work Power, Top Make or NSDCI. All those tasked us to handle your language training prior to your deployment to Finland. Welcome, and we're excited for you to study Finnish with us. In this orientation, I'm going to go through all the details you'll need to know in order to successfully complete your language training. If you happen to have any questions during this live stream, you can type them in the YouTube chat box and I'll do my best to address them towards the end of the session during our Q&A portion. Apologies for the quality of the video. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but I hope you can hear my voice clearly. Also, if in any case I get cut off or interrupted, let's say due to internet connection issues, kindly check your inbox and we'll look for a way to get you the rest of the information you need in case this live stream ends unexpectedly. Also, to set your expectations, we're looking at a 45-minute orientation and maybe we'll spend a couple more minutes for the Q&A, depending on like how many questions will be raised. And then lastly, if you need to go at any point in time during this live stream, as I understand you may be at work or doing other commitments wherever you are from all over the world. Wherever you are dialing in from, I very much respect your time. So if you have to drop out of this live stream, it's totally okay. This will remain as a normal video once this live stream ends. So you can just click on the same link that you used to join today's orientation. So from your email. And this will play as a normal video like those you watch on YouTube. So you can definitely replay, rewind, and such for any parts that you missed or you want to go back to. Yes, now I have some slides to get us started right away. So here is the overall structure of the training. You've already completed the screen portion. You studied the Kulmahoiden material independently, and then you attended an interview. And we are about to start this orange section below. Mandatory training here with us consists of 3 textbooks. The first one is called Yo Mahoiden, and it has 8 units. A unit in this context basically means a chapter in the textbook. So roughly about 30 to 50 pages worth of content. And once you complete that successfully, you move on to Anna Mahoiden 1 and Anna Mahoiden 2. They both have 6 units, so mandatory training consists of at least 20 units. And once you're done with the 3 textbooks, you need to take an A2.1 level exam. So this term A2.1 comes from the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. It's a way language proficiency is measured in the European Union. And the scale starts from A1, then A2, then B1, and B2, while C1 and C2 are the highest. So A2 is like elementary skill level. It's something you can attain in less than a year if you work or study consistently, and nobody expects you to be fluent at that point yet. But your employers have deemed that this level will suffice for work-related purposes at the beginning. But this level is also stated in your contract, so that's why we have to make sure everyone reaches this point, and that's why we have this exam. Some employers mandate a slightly higher skill level A2.2 rather than A2.1, and if that is the case with you, then you have to stay with us for an additional 3 units in the 4th textbook called No Mahoiden, and after that you take a brief or small A2.2 level test. Once you pass your mandatory exam and everything else is good, we'll tell the manpower agency that this person is good to go
language requirements wise, and at that point, you might deploy at any moment. If your visa is delayed, you might stay with us for a little longer. You might review Nomahoiden, which is up to 8 units, or you might never even see this material, or you might study through the whole thing. It totally depends on your situation. So, once deployed and once you are in Finland, you are all done as far as we are concerned. But of course, you will continue your language studies there, but that's handled by different people, and that's not on us anymore. Let's look at what you have to do in order to complete the training successfully. You need to do four things only. And this is the bulk of your studies. So you have to study independently each week. You have to do the tasks in the textbook. You have to listen to audio files. You have to review vocabulary and so on. And then you have to devote time to your studies and go through the materials that we provide. The second mandatory component is attending a 30-minute personal session with one of our instructors online about each unit, and you have to complete them successfully. And the third mandatory component is that you have to submit 2 to 3 tasks per unit on Moodle. Moodle is our online learning platform, and the fourth mandatory component is passing the mandatory exam at the end of the training. So now let's look at the items 1, 2, and 3 in detail. So how do you get started? Here's number 1. How would you start your independent studies? So first, you have to download the first textbook, Yomahoiden, and it comes with audio files. You can find the textbook as a PDF file and audio files as MP3 on Moodle by going to the site and then clicking home and then the folder called materials. Once you have your Moodle login credentials, and once you have the materials itself, you can access the recommended schedules for each day. They basically walk you through each unit on a Monday through Friday schedule. So we highly recommend that you follow them and complete the tasks in the book independently. You do not have to guess the answers since they are at the back of the book, and audio files and their transcripts as well as their translations are also there. So use that as a resource. The book might not prompt you to study relevant vocabulary or vocabulars in the book separately, but we always assume that you go through those as well. So here is what the first textbook looks like. So make sure you get this one. And if you use Moodle on mobile, this is what the recommended schedule looks like. So here's a sample from Unit 3 contents. So is that it? That's all right? Well, basically, yeah. The textbook and study. I mean, that is super easy to say, but probably way more difficult to pull off because you need to be able to motivate yourself to work independently. You have to be your own boss here. You have to study without supervision. You have to make time and plan ahead a little so that you can study Finnish on a regular basis. If at all possible, I recommend that you study Finnish a little each day rather than once a week for a longer session or time, because language learning is really about exposure. So the more you do things in Finnish, the easier time your brain has to rewire itself, and language learning is not rocket science. So even if the grammar sections in the book seem pretty intimidating, they are only the means to an end. So it's closer to like learning how to dance or learning how to drive a car, where knowing the theory only gets you so far. So you need like repetition and to rotate learning. But you do not have to study in complete isolation because you get to use your newly learned skills in these one-on-one meetings and Moodle tasks. So what are these one-on-one meetings, if you're wondering? So let's have a look at the mandatory item number 2, the one-on-one meeting. So whenever you finish a unit, you need to meet with one of our instructors about it online for 30 minutes. These meetings take place on Google Meet. These sessions are not tests. Think of these more as coaching sessions where you get to ask questions, you get to practice speaking, and you get to complete benchmark tasks where you can check whether you've mastered the basics of each unit so you do not get a grade. These are on a done, not done basis. So it's important to note that these one-on-one always discuss things about the previous unit, so not the unit that you are currently studying. So next week, when you start Unit 1, there are no meetings that week. But the week after that, when you move on to the Unit 2, that week you will discuss Unit 1 for your one-on-one session. So ideally, you study a unit according to the schedule during the week, then schedule a meeting and meet about the unit early in the next week, and then you can fully focus on the following unit. So the scheduling for the one-on-ones is pretty flexible. So you get to pick a time for your one-on-one, and then we'll assign you an instructor, and in some cases you also get to pick the instructor, but we have about over 20 people conducting these meetings, so you might not get the same instructor right away, but rest assured they exchange notes about each meeting. So we'll open the scheduling pages on Thursdays and time each week. So fast-paced groups have one-on-ones every week, whereas slow-paced groups have one-on-ones for the first 2 weeks of studies, and after that, once every 2 weeks. So here's a diagram to better visualize it. So fast-paced groups study one unit over the course of 1 week, and then discuss it when they move on to the following unit. In slow-paced groups, study one unit over the course of 2 weeks, and then discuss it when they move on to part 1 of the following unit. So here, pick a date and time. When you click on a scheduling link, this is roughly the view that you will get. So first, you have to confirm your time zone. Make sure you pick the time zone that you are currently in, and after that, it shows you all the available dates. And once you pick a date, it shows you available times. Because of the way we have set up the scheduling system, the leftmost column here is actually Saturday. So be careful. You're probably used to it being Sunday or Monday, and in Finland, it would be Monday actually. So in this scheduling system particularly, it happens to be Saturday. So make sure you double check the day and the time when you book. And for the confirmation page, once you've confirmed the date and time, then you have to provide some extra information. So write your full name and your correct email. Make sure you type your email correctly. That's very important, because you'll get a confirmation email after that has the instructor's name and a cancellation link that would come in handy for you to have. So make sure you spell your email correctly. Then enter the name and number of your group or your batch that you belong to, and indicate the unit that you are prepared to discuss at the meeting. So this can be several units if you are falling behind schedule. And the last 2 fields, you do not need to concern yourself with that at the moment. Just leave it blank there for later. So one-on-one meetings, we prepare the schedule for the entire review center every 2 weeks and post it to your announcement. And if your group has one-on-one meetings coming up, you have a 2-day window. So from Thursday to Friday to schedule. And if your schedule says that you have so-called brush-up weeks, that means there are no meetings coming up in the following week. And when it's time for your scheduled one-on-one, the only thing you have to do is go to Google Meet, find the confirmation email link to the meeting, and simply click on it, which will take you to the Google Meet. Once there, the instructor will accept you into the meeting. And if you are using a mobile device, you'll need to download the Google Meet app beforehand. And if you're using a desktop, no worries, you'll just need to use your web browser. So let's say you're using Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. And then you also have 2-on-1 meetings. Most of your meetings with the instructor will be one-on-ones. So it will be just you and the instructor. But you will have occasional 2-to-1 meetings or 2-on-1 meetings where you and a fellow trainee will discuss the unit with an instructor. So this happens later on in the second textbook. So about 2 or 4 months of studying, halfway through the second textbook, you will start having these 2-on-1 meetings. So we'll give you more information about that when the time comes. So this is not something that concerns you just yet. So throughout the first textbook, just book personally. No need to book with a partner or fellow trainee yet. And moving on to benchmark tasks. So one-on-ones come with benchmark tasks. And these are oral tasks that you need to be able to do with the instructor during your one-on-one meetings. You can find them in the recommended schedules. These are simple tasks that you can do in less than 5 minutes if you know the contents of the unit. So you do not get a grade, and you can do this several times. So this is on a done, not done basis. So you do not have to guess what they are. You can find them at the bottom of the recommended schedules on Moodle, but do not study just for the sake of mastering these. These are just like the bare minimums of each unit. So if you know the contents of the unit, this will not pose any concern. So moving on to Unit 1 through 5 tests, or Unit 1 to 5 tests. So after you finish Unit 5, you take this so-called Unit 1 to 5 test. So this is required so we can check those who can get the visa process started and see those who are dedicated, doing well, and are up to speed with their studies. And this consists of simple tasks about functions, grammar, and vocabulary in Units 1 to 5, and then like basic things from the review kit, just like knowing body parts and how to be able to tell time. So you book it like your regular one-on-one session, and it takes up an entire session, and you will discuss Unit 5 separately. So for this one, you need to have your camera on. Unlike for normal ones, audio will suffice. But for this specific test, we do want to see that it's you taking the test. And if you fail this test or get disconnected, and then we'll give you another chance. So this also applies to situations where you can't finish the test due to technical issues. So that was mandatory component number 2, one-on-one meetings. So Moodle tasks. Now for mandatory component number 3, Moodle tasks. If you just joined or hopped in late to the orientation, Moodle is the online learning platform that we are using to keep track of meetings and to distribute materials as well as check these Moodle tasks. So each unit has a 1 or 2 mandatory tasks and a self-assessment quiz, and you need to submit them on Moodle. So just like the benchmark tasks I mentioned, these are something you finish in less than 5 minutes, and the most common format is a discussion forum, and then you have to start a conversation or start a new thread and then possibly reply to other people's messages and so on. So sometimes you have to submit a picture with a caption, sometimes you need to upload an audio file, and so on. But whatever you do not use automated translation. So do not use Google Translate or DeepL or anything that would produce Finnish on your behalf, because it does not teach you language at all. And in the case of Finnish, it often gives you this formal written content that is pretty clunky. So our textbooks focus on colloquial Finnish, and if the instructor who marks your task suspects that this is not your own work, then they might fail your entry. Other than that, you need a 75% completion score on Moodle to move from the first textbook to the next, and Moodle tasks and one-on-one meetings both count towards this score. And should you not reach the 75%, you will be moved to a later group or batch to review. So Moodle tasks have deadlines, and they are listed in the recommended schedule. So make sure you turn them in on time, and each unit also comes with a self-assessment quiz that is automatically graded. You can retake them once, but your score is the average of your attempts and not the highest attempt. And always make sure that your submission meets the guidelines. So some tasks ask you to submit a certain number of sentences, while others might ask for an initial post and comments on other people's posts with no sentence limit. So Moodle has an official mobile app, but do not use it to submit your tasks or to do the quizzes. It has severe limitations, and some tasks do not show the grading criteria. So if you are using the mobile app, you can use it to receive notifications from us, but do not use it for any submissions. Instead, use Moodle in a web browser, even if you are using a mobile device. So instructors mark and comment on your work after the submission deadline. The task either has a 5-point scale or is on a not done or done basis. So tasks that are graded from 0 to 5 points are usually a little demanding. So if you do not get the passing grade on the first attempt, you get a second chance. So you have 2 days to edit or resubmit it according to the instructor's feedback, and then your grade will be final after the second feedback round. On the other hand, Tasks that are graded as done or not done basis, those only have one round of grading. So you do not get a second chance if you happen to fail. A grade of not done means that the task or submission is incomplete or necessarily mean that there was no attempt. And I'll say a few words about culture courses since your employer does want you to know a little bit about Finland before you actually go there. So will automatically add you to 2 culture courses in Moodle. With language training, you pretty much have to follow the strict schedules and study the units according to the pace of your group or your batch. But with these culture courses, you have more leeway. You just have 2 deadlines. You have to get the first culture course done by the time your group wraps up the first textbook, and that is by the end of Unit 8. And then the second culture course, you need to get it done by the end of Unit 20, which is the last unit in the 3rd textbook. So the culture courses are relatively chill compared with the language training. You basically just watch YouTube videos and read text about Finland and then answer simple quizzes. So let's move on to random partners. Your employers in Finland, they highly emphasize your speaking skills. So they want you to have the courage to speak and to be relatively comprehensible while doing so. But it's really difficult to practice speaking and listening in this kind of remote setting where everybody is scattered across the world in different time zones, working at different hours possibly, and so on. So we basically take someone from the same group and assign them to you as a random partner. So you can then choose to do some of the oral tasks in the textbook together to practice speaking if you so wish. You can also meet on WhatsApp, Messenger, Discord, MS Teams, Google Meet, or whichever mode of communication you prefer. So you can meet once a week, maybe even several times a week, or not at all. So please know that working with a random partner is not mandatory, but we highly recommend it. And for evaluation, the outcome of the training is the same for everybody who passes the training. So everybody has a job lined up in Finland, and successfully in this context means that you have a 75% Moodle score per course. You have successfully completed meetings about all units. You've also done your benchmark tasks and you've passed the A2 exam. You will have the job in Finland. So sometimes though your recruitment agency, they might need an internal order of batch members for various purposes. So they might want to know who seems to be performing a little better than others. The most common reason they ask us this would be for visa processing. So they know whose visa they should process first. And if they come to us with this request, the only way we really do this evaluation is that we look at your Moodle tasks and your one-on-one meetings. So since all of those yield points, and those will serve as a basis for the ranking. Many Moodle tasks are on a done, not done basis, but some also have a 5-point scale, so that will create some differences in the ranking. So for one-on-ones, everybody eventually gets the same points, right? Because it's on a done, not done basis, and you need them all done. So if you fall behind, it's okay. Our program is pretty intense, and sometimes people start falling behind, and that won't be the end of the world. It's totally fine to just switch groups if that happens. You just have to talk to your instructor about that during your next one-on-one. Or if our staff notices that you are behind, they will also move you if you fall behind by 2 or 3 units, fail the Unit 1 to 5 test or the A2.1 exam or assessment, and you do not have the 75% Moodle score when you finish the first textbook or Unit 8. And if you miss a one-on-one session, if you fall behind meetings-wise, it's also not the end of the world. It's possible to cover more than 1 unit in a later meeting. Just have to indicate it in the booking form. You do not have to ask for an extra session if you missed a meeting or if you experience a technical issue. You can cover more than 1 unit in the upcoming meeting if that happens. So we are more than happy to help you. If you ever have any concerns, just email us at support@nlrc.ph. Whenever you reach out to us, make sure to use the same email address you are using for the training, since this will be the same email address we have on file. Always mention your name and your group or batch when you email us. kindly know that we can't answer any employment or visa related questions because that is handled by your recruitment agency and we are only subcontracting for them for language learning purposes. So if you have any visa or deployment questions, you have to ask your manpower agency. Let's talk about what to study and focus on specifically, since you might not be super familiar with studying a foreign language in this type of situation where you are learning it from scratch but not yet actively using it in your daily life. So I highly recommend that you focus on your vocabulary because you can't really do anything without it, although it's also super, super boring most of the time. But knowing the grammar does not help at all if you do not have the vocabulary to use the grammar with. So there are many ways that you can do it, such as practicing on pen and paper, listening to audio files, and making your own flashcard decks. We made decks for an app called Anki, but the decks have not been updated to the latest versions of the textbooks yet. So you can go to ankiweb.net and look them up, but some of the vocabulary in the decks is missing in the current textbooks. So textbooks are pretty heavy on grammar, perhaps a little heavier than they should be, so don't stress about the million possible forms a word can have in Finnish. Our textbooks talk a lot about tiny sound changes that happen when endings are attached and so on, but very little of that is needed to get the point across at this level and in real life. So also in real life, you can point at things, you can touch things, and you can have all kinds of nonverbal cues available that you can't use in this kind of setting where you can only talk to the instructor through audio or remote setup. So whenever you study, try to think in terms of functions. Try to think about what you can do with the Finnish language rather than what you know about the Finnish language. So if you encounter a grammar item or a piece of vocabulary from the textbooks that you never see yourself using in real life, don't devote that much time to it. It's probably not that important for you. So recap, next week on Monday, without any special announcement, we expect you to start your independent studies according to the recommended schedules on Moodle. So go to Moodle, which is the online learning platform. Then find your first course, Yo Mahoiden, and then under the Unit 1 contents, there should be the recommended schedules. And we'll also post the first set of random partners, so contact yours if you so wish. Then continue your independent studies through Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and on Thursday, we will post the first one-on-one booking links for you. So you can book for the following week about Unit 1. Please make sure you book before Friday noon before the booking links close.
All right, so that's pretty much all I have regarding the studies here with us at Zelda Nordic Languages Review Center. So now, if you have any questions or concerns, if I was super unclear about something or my internet cut off and you wanted to clarify something, you can start typing your questions in the YouTube chat box and I'll do my best to answer your concerns to the best of my ability. So there is a bit of a delay in the stream, so if I go offline and you are still typing your question, I suggest you instead email your question to support at nlrc.ph, the email beside me, and our staff will get back to you in case I go offline or if the live stream ends unexpectedly. So I'll give a few moments for anyone to raise or clarify anything. So I'll be looking at the chat or the comment section. I have seen about like 3 questions already, so I'll go through that. And for those who are still absorbing or digesting the information that was mentioned during the slides, take your time. We still have like a couple of more minutes to do the Q&A portion. So also, if you came late to the orientation or just dialed in, this video will be available as a normal video once the live stream ends. So then you can rewind or skip parts to get to the certain portions you missed out on or you want to listen to specifically. So um just use the same link you used to join today's orientation, the one from your orientation invite via email. So, going through the first question in the chat box, um, when does our course study lasts, and we were told to submit our medical forms immediately once we start the language training. So I'll go over that because it also answers the second question. I want to know exactly when our course will last, and I am concerned about the medical certificate since it expires after 6 months. So let's go over the course duration first. So I can't give a definite like date, like end date, because it totally depends on your situation. So each situation can be unique. But if you know your group or the batch that you belong to, sure, you're already very much aware if you belong to a fast paced or a slow paced group. So that alone lets you know how long you can expect to stay with us. So I believe they explained this, or your manpower agency explained this in their orientation. But if they didn't, fast pace, or those with like the letter F next to their batch number or group number. So, for example, we have Fin 116F. So that means your fast pace. And then we have Fin 117 slow pace. So that's a quick example. So for fast pace, your group studies 1 unit per week, and we have about 20 units plus occasional break weeks or brush weeks, like what was mentioned in the slideshow, and you have your exam. So I would say around 25 weeks at least. So that is roughly around 6 to 7 months under fast paced. And if everything goes well, it's possible. I mean, assuming everything goes well, it's roughly 6 to 7 months. But it's possible that you are moved to another group or a later group if you fail tests or you do not reach the skill required or the learning goals on the first try. So it might take longer as well, like longer than 6 to 7 months. So in an optimal situation, it would be 6 to 7 months for fast pace. While on the other hand, we have slow pace. Slow pace takes twice as long compared to fast pace. So slow pace studies one unit over the course of 2 weeks, and again there are about 20 units plus your occasional break or brush up weeks and your exams. So I would say 4 to 5 weeks if everything goes smoothly. So roughly about 11 months if everything goes well. Although if you're moved to a later group or a later batch, if you don't reach the learning goals like and fast paced, then it's possible that it might take longer than that. But in an optimal situation, around 11 months. So fast pace is 6 to 7 months roughly, like target, or like a general duration, and then for slow pace is around 11 months. But again, it depends, or it's case to case on each student situation, especially because the studying is self-study, although that's why we do have your recommended schedules on Moodle, the learning online learning platform. And this is because you can follow through with the pace of your group, while whether you're in slow paced or fast paced. So which brings me to, I bet you're wondering, or you want to ask, oh, how can I make the switch to slow pace fast pace, or the other way around? How can I go from fast pace to slow pace? So you can definitely do that by emailing support at nlrc.ph. So our support team just give in or send in your full name and your current group or batch number, and then explain why you want to make the switch, and we'll see what we can do, or we can assess your situation. Although we warn against switching if you know that you have a busy work life or a busy family life, or you have a lot of other commitments on top of the language training with us. So maybe try sticking with what you have for now, whether you're in fast pace or slow pace, because you really need to know or learn the language. So it doesn't mean that if you go from slow pace to fast pace, you want to rush through the training, because for fast pace, you gotta make sure you have the time for the studies. So if you feel like you can commit, and you're gonna put in that extra effort and time to keep up with the fast pace, then go ahead and email support at nlrc.ph to make the switch. So yes, it's totally possible to switch from fast pace to slow pace or slow pace to fast pace as long as you understand that fast pace is twice as fast as a slow pace. So let's say if you start falling behind, then our staff will like forcefully move you to a later group anyway. So it happens all the time. It's normal. It's not a punishment or anything like that. So again, if you need or if you want to switch groups from fast to slow or slow to fast, email support at nlrc.ph. But I also just wanna let you know that maybe if you were placed on slow pace, there was probably a very good reason for it. Maybe our team or like from the interview or from the assessment, you were probably placed there for a very good reason. So you're at the right place pacing wise. So this goes for everyone. I like I kind of hope that you can give it a try first, but if as early as now you really can tell that you can commit or have that extra time to keep up with fast pace, then again email support at nlrc.ph. And for the first two questions, they were asking about the medical forms and medical certificate. So, as early as now, I would like to set your expectations that the medical requirement is something that your recruitment agency imposes. So, this could be Africa Work Power or Top Make or Silk Road or NSDCI, if I'm not mistaken. So depends on your recruitment agency. So whether you're from, let's say again, you're from those recruitment agencies, so whichever recruitment agency you're from, it's best to contact them because it your medical requirements or any other document processing related like visa or deployment requirements or document requirements, it's not on us. So we only handle your language training. We were subcontracted by your recruitment agency, so you need to ask your recruitment agency directly as to what they require as well as when you can get them or when you should submit them. So your recruitment agency, you should be in contact about all these with them. And again, that's not on us. They should reach out to you, or you could reach out to them, and they will tell you how to get it done and where to submit the results and all that. So, we really just handle your language training and nothing visa processing or visa requirements or deployment requirements and such. The third question, you do not have access yet to your NLRC Moodle account, and it's not functional at the moment. So, for troubleshooting, for troubleshooting or issues for your Moodle access, I highly suggest that you email support at nlrc.ph for assistance. Let's say you're unable to log in, you're having a hard time accessing Moodle, like you just have like trouble accessing it in general. But if you received your login credentials, so let's be clear, if you did the study kit or the Coil Mahoidan course or KMH with us, then you won't be getting new login credentials. You'll be using the existing one or the one used for the study kit. So it's still the same login. You just have to access the first textbook, the Yo Mahoidan one. But if it's your first time doing your training with us, you didn't do the study kit or the beginner course, then you should have received an email from us containing your login credentials to Moodle. And the password is case sensitive, so I highly suggest that you copy and paste your password when accessing it instead of manually typing it. So maybe if you get like the wrong password and stuff like that, it must be because you typed in the password wrong. So it's better to copy and paste it for sensitive case letters or symbols. And If it's still not functional, I highly suggest you email support@nlrc.ph for further assistance on your Moodle access. And I'll also be sending the website or the Moodle learning platform website. So kindly bookmark or keep this link so you can easily access it whenever you're studying. So we highly advise again from using the Moodle app because it has severe app limitations and technical issues. Like sometimes there's trouble with like grading criteria. So overall, we just don't recommend it, and we only suggest using the Moodle app, like the application on your phone or mobile device, if it's like to get notifications from us or just to check like your recommended schedules here and there. But otherwise, if you're gonna do anything on Moodle like study and submit tasks or anything related to like actual studying, we highly suggest you use the website. So the link I just sent, and use it in a web browser. So whether you're using your mobile device or phone, um, most phones have like a web browser as well. So let's say like Safari on your iPhone, like or your iOS, you can type in the website link and it should work. But it's better if you can use your laptop or computer or desktop because I would say it could be a better learning experience. But again, I would understand if you'd be studying from your phone, let's say if you're on your commute or something. So that's totally fine as well. But for submitting, overall, for submitting tasks, you should try to use the laptop or computer or desktop to get the better learning experience. Okay. So just going over Moodle again, Moodle Access, since I do know that maybe some of you do not have access yet or are wondering why you didn't receive your login credentials yet. So just to repeat, if you're one of those who have never accessed Moodle, the online learning platform before, that if that is the case with you, then our staff or our support team should have emailed you your login credentials already. So kindly check your email, check your spam, double check your inbox. If not, you have to wait until like tomorrow or Monday, or I guess you can email us as early as today, support@nlrc.ph, and you can say, hey, I'm part of this group. My name is, so we can check for verification purposes. And you could say, I do not have my login credentials for Moodle yet. But again, kindly double check your email or your spam in case it landed there or got buried within, got buried within your other emails. But if you have access to Moodle before, like I said, if you did the beginner course or the study kit with us, then you'll just use the same login credentials. We will not be sending you a new one. And again, it should have been emailed to you. But if you haven't received it, please follow up support@nlrc.ph. And if you forgot your password, if you already updated it or something, just click the lost send you a password reset link or for you to be able to reset your password. All right. Now I'm gonna go to the other questions over the like lower part of the chat box. Okay, so someone was asking, are there any recommendations for you, like a YouTube channel or website to improve on vocabulary part? So in the slideshow, I mentioned Anki, so that's one of what we recommend. That's Anki is what we recommend here at NLRC, but definitely it's not required. You don't have to go through Anki if you feel like it's a hassle to add on top of your studying, because the textbooks we have for you here at Nordic Languages Review Center should be enough. But if you're looking to really kind of get a hands-on or extra language training on top of the training with us, then maybe you could use other apps like Duolingo or any other language training apps that you're willing to try. But we recommend Anki, but it's fine if you want to like explore YouTube for other tutorials as well on top of your language training with us and Duolingo. So it's totally fine. It's not required. It's up to you if you like to use any of those. Just don't use automated translation for your work or submissions, because if an instructor suspects that it's like automated translation, like Google Translate or anything like that, then they might fail your entry and you're not really gonna learn from doing copy paste. Okay, someone said, I tried to download the file on my mobile app, but I noticed I can't view it on my phone. I think it's better to download like the PDF textbook on like your laptop or computer. Maybe your mobile device has limitations, or maybe try to refresh or try logging out and logging in again, or try basic troubleshooting steps on how to access a PDF file on your mobile phone if that is the case with you. Or let's say you have an A 2.1 exam coming up, so um you'll know oh sorry, I think I got cut off a bit, but I'm back now. Okay. So you do have your recommended schedules, and we'll be sending like email announcements and reminders whenever you have like your upcoming A 2.1 or Unit 1 to 5 tests. So don't worry about that. And then someone asked, when will we get all the materials? So your textbook is already available on Moodle, so you should be able to access it. So go to nlrc.ph/Moodle. So the link I sent in our chat box. If you go to the front page of Moodle, you can't see the materials folder. You can't see it right away. So what you do is go to Moodle and then click on My Courses, and then click on your course. And then from the materials folder, you should be able to access the first textbook. So again, it's not gonna appear on your recently accessed course since you've never opened up or touched your first textbook yet, the Yomahoidan. So you really have to go to the, like, once you're logged in, uh, go to the My Courses and then click your batch or group number, and a materials folder should pop up, and click on it, and then you can access your first textbook. So again, that's your first textbook access. If you're having trouble accessing it, I recommend you email support@nlrc.ph. And if you're having trouble with the interface or how Moodle looks like, I know there are tutorials on YouTube covering how to use Moodle. So just so you could get the hang of it if you're still confused with like where to go and all that. So I just answered the where to get the materials and how do we get the reading materials. Okay, so someone asked, how is the A 2.1 exam conducted? Is it online or from our home? So thank you so much for raising that. So where is the A 2.1 test region? So, well, it depends if you are physically, let's say, in Kenya or physically in the Philippines, then you take it as a written exam, and that takes place in Quezon City, in Metro Manila, or in Baguio City. It's also in the Philippines if you're physically in the Philippines. And I think in Kenya, I think it happens in the capital. So for everybody else, if you are a Filipino or a Kenyan or Indian or outside the Philippines, like you're an overseas worker, then you will be taking the A 2.1 assessment online. So you do not need to go to a testing site. So if you're outside the Philippines or outside Kenya, it's probably going to be an online A 2.1 exam. Hi, since holidays are approaching soon, do we have a short break for that? Uh, Technically, remember you have your recommended schedule, so it's plotted there how your week should go. So it's like a week by week kind of thing, or basically your recommended schedules shows like how your group will be pacing through the course. And you have to remember that the course is, or this, the language training with us is self-study or independent study. So you can study anywhere or everywhere or at any time. Just make sure to follow the pace of your group and following the recommended schedules and knowing if you have a deadline coming up. So let's say, I know it's a holiday tomorrow for the Philippines. So if you're taking the time off and stuff like that, then I'm pretty sure it's definitely okay since it's self study. Study in your own time and just make sure you're following the deadlines and the requirements when to submit, and you're still within the pace of your group. So self study or independent studies is what we do here at Northern Languages Review Center. So it's not like, hey, you guys have to be studying this at this time or anything like that. Just make sure to follow your group or your batch's recommended schedules. And then what else? I was gonna say something real quick. So you officially start on Monday. So I don't think tomorrow's holiday will be affected if you're from the Philippines. So you could take the time to enjoy your long weekend, and you officially start on Monday. So by then, without any announcement or without any reminder from us, we expect you to start your studying on Monday officially. So you should be able to access your textbook by then and follow the recommended schedules. Can we know our total? And oh, I'm not so sure how many you are in SU in SUO 144, but I know you can see the other emails in Google Group or where you receive your email announcement. So maybe that's where you can check. But if I were to give like an average, yeah, or like um it's maybe when I checked last time, Suo 144 has like 30 plus members if I'm not mistaken. But don't worry guys, you'll have time to get to know each other through the random partners setup or the random partners system thingy, because every week you get a random partner. So that's how you get to know your batchmates or your group mates. And it's a great way to get to know your group mates or your batchmates personally, because each week you get a random partner and it's up to you to keep in touch. So let's say next week when you get a random partner, you can reach out via email, and then you could like move to Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever mode of communication you prefer. So we highly recommend doing this so you can get acquainted with your batchmates or groupmates, because maybe who knows, you might end up being roommates with one of your batchmates or groupmates. So it's nice to kind of like not study in complete isolation, because at least you get to practice your speaking skills with someone, and you get to have like a study routine. So that's why we have a random partners thing set up. But again, it's not required, because maybe there are students working odd hours or are not really sociable. So let's say you get a random partner and you're not really interested to work with anyone that week, just be polite and say that you can't, or you don't, you can't work with someone this week. So don't ghost your random partners. Let them know if you're not interested or you don't have the capacity to work with a partner that week. So at least you have respect for each other's time, and so you don't feel like you're waiting around for nothing. So always be polite and inform your random partner if you're not interested or you don't have the capacity to do the random partner for that week. So you can definitely keep in touch with your first random partner or whatever. Like I said, it's not required, just recommended, especially if you want to study with someone and you're not studying alone. So you have like an accountability buddy or accountability partner. Again, someone's asking, how to get Moodle. Please tell the steps. So let me resend the website again real quick. Please bookmark this. Um, excuse me. I highly advise against using the Moodle app or application on your phone or mobile device. Again, it has severe limitations and technical issues. You will have trouble accessing, like, let's say, grading criteria for your tasks and stuff like that. So for the best learning experience, use Moodle website on a web browser like Google Chrome. Use this website. You can also try to use it from your phone, but from a web browser, so not the app. Is it okay to transfer to another group before the lesson starts? Kasi I'll get back to that in a bit. But for Moodle, since someone's asking, if you're still having trouble accessing your login credentials, or you feel like you didn't receive it after checking your spam or inbox, and you've never accessed Moodle before, email support at nlrc.ph for assistance. But please check your spam or double check your inbox in case it got buried within other emails. And again, if you did the study kit or the beginner course, you should have existing login credentials. You won't be getting a new one. And once you're on Moodle, basically just go to the My Courses, click on, let's say, for example, SUO or SUO 144, and then click Materials. And from there, you should get your first textbook, the Yomahoidan, and then download the PDF file. Again, since you officially start on Monday, maybe take the time for the rest of the day or like tomorrow or over the weekend to check out Moodle so you're well acquainted with the learning platform. There are YouTube tutorials or tutorials online on how to navigate Moodle if you're having a hard time with the interface. Okay, now I'm going to the next question where we can submit Moodle tasks. So if you just dialed in or you just came into the orientation, don't worry. We've covered a lot the past minutes, or like, has it been an hour? Almost an hour. So once this live stream ends, just use the same link that you joined for your orientation, and it should replay as a normal video so you can go back to whatever you missed. Okay, so for how do we submit Moodle tasks? I'll go over that real quick. So how to submit tasks on Moodle? It depends on the type of the task. I think most tasks, once you have your access to your course on Moodle, again, the textbooks, the tasks have descriptions and how you can submit them. So it depends on the type of task you're doing, but always check the instructions. That's why it's always important to check any guidelines or requirements or instructions on your Moodle task. So let's say it's a forum-based task, for example, you have to start a new conversation and then possibly reply to other forums or comment. Then that's how you'll submit. If it's an assignment-based task, you just have to submit, let's say, a text entry to the instructor or submitting it via Moodle. So you can look up instructions for Moodle online as well. If the description of the task is not clear enough, you can find the task by going to your Moodle course and then browsing to the specific unit, and they are listed there under recommended schedule. So don't worry, there are instructions on how to submit specific Moodle tasks. Okay, so someone's asking about A2.2. So most employers mandate the A2.1. So remember, you have your unit 1 to 5 tests and all that, and your one-on-one sessions and your two-on-one sessions with an instructor and your Moodle tasks to submit. Once you're done with all 3 textbooks with your language training here, you need to take your A2.1 level exam. And again, it depends if you're physically in the Philippines or Kenya, then you're doing it in person. But if you're from across, like all over the world, then your A2.1 exam will be online. So again, A2 is like your elementary skill level. It's something you can attain in less than a year if you work consistently, and nobody expects you to be fluent at that point yet, but your employers have deemed that this level will suffice for your work-related purposes at the beginning. So that's why we have to make sure everyone reaches this point, and that's why you have this exam. But For A2.2, some employers mandate a slightly higher skill level, A2.2, rather than A2.1. And if that is the case with you, then you'd have to stay with us for an additional 3 units in the fourth textbook called No Mahoyden. And after that, you take a brief or small A2.2 level test if your employer mandates or requires a higher skill level, A2.2. One of my friend couldn't enter the group and unable to join the SUO 142. How will she regroup? Excuse me, sorry. Um, if she's having a hard time, kindly email support at nlrc.ph for your friend to join SUO 142. But the way it's set up, Google Group is should be available whether you're a Gmail user or not. So whether you have Yahoo, Hotmail, you should be able to access it. Let me send like troubleshooting instructions. I will send it to you guys. Give me a few minutes to look for it. Let's say you're having a hard time accessing the Google group or the mailing list because you're not using a Gmail. Um, there's a way to there's a way to um I'd say troubleshoot it. Okay. Again, excuse me. Give me one moment. I will send. If you're using a non-Google email, it should not prevent you again from joining your mailing list or the Google announcements. So what you can do would be following the instructions I'll be sending in the chat box if you're unable to join the Google group or the mailing list or where we send the email announcements. So a non-Google email. Oh, sorry. Wait. It went beyond the words needed. So non-Google email address is not should not prevent you from using Google services. So try and have your friend do the alternatives or like the troubleshooting steps. And also please please make please make sure that you also accepted the invite because you should have received an invite to be part of the Google group. So maybe check on that as well. But here's the troubleshooting step number one, and then the second one. All right, it's already 3:03 p.m. Philippine time. If you have to dial out or you have to go, please, it's all right to go. We went beyond, 45 minutes, and maybe we'll allot like 5 minutes more to address any other pending questions. Next one. Thank you so much for the the wonderful presentation and for all the clarifications and Q&A. Thank you as well for joining. If you have to go again, you can leave at any time. You can replay this orientation once the live stream ends. So don't worry, you're not gonna miss out on anything. Is it okay to transfer to another group before the lesson starts? For this one, for the person who asked this, I highly suggest you email support@nlrc.ph, but I'm not sure why you wanna transfer as early as now because everyone here today will officially start on Monday. So you do not need to be rushing or anything like that if you feel like you're behind already or anything like that. But if you're asking because of like a specific situation or a unique case, then I highly suggest you email support@nlrc.ph if you wanna transfer to a group before you start on Monday. Is it possible to meet one on one sessions during the weekends. As far as I know, I'm not sure if they have updated it recently, but I do know there are weekend slots. But always just check out the booking links. So the booking links are sent on a weekly basis, and each time or each week you can pick a separate time for your meetings and maybe check out what are the available schedules, because it also depends on the availability of the instructors if there's like a capacity to do one-on-ones on weekends. But for sure choose the best suitable time and day for you on the available schedules. Whenever they announce booking link reminders or initial booking reminders, always check um those that you can book for. So only book one, because if you do double booking or more than that, your second booking or any other booking you did is automatically canceled, because we want to be able to give slots for everyone each week. So you only do one one session a week, or like one booking, or depends on your recommended schedules. If it's telling you to do like, or if you need to do two sessions, right, then book for the two sessions, but don't double book for one unit session. Like let's say you're booking twice for unit one, then your next one will automatically be canceled. And also for your one-on-one meetings or your two-on-one meetings later on in the other textbooks, you'll be joining on Google Meet. So if you're gonna hop on Google Meet using your mobile phone or your mobile device, like your iOS or Android or whichever, download the Google Meet app prior to your one-on-one or two-on-one meeting. So make sure you get that set up and test if it works, so that you don't do it on the day or right when you need to hop on your one-on-one or two-on-one meeting with an instructor. But if you're joining through a web browser, like let's say Google Chrome, then it's totally fine. You don't need the Google Meet app. Just go to your confirmation email, click the link. It should redirect you to the meeting, and then just join the meeting link. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. You are free to go if there are no other questions, and if if I was still unclear or you really want more explanations or details on it, you can email support at nlrc.ph for any other like questions, further questions. Let's say following up on your Moodle access or moving to another group, switching from fast paced to slow paced. But again, take into account what I mentioned a while ago. If you have a busy life or have a lot of commitments, then make sure you can keep up with fast pace if you're planning to switch to fast pace, or if you're going from fast pace to slow pace. So just always make sure to check out the recommended schedules on Moodle and make sure you are at pace with your group. I know it's self-study and independent studies and you can do it in your own time, but just make sure you're at par or at pace with your group. And if you are falling behind again, do not worry, or it's not a punishment, or don't feel bad if our staff moves you to a later batch or a different group. It's for your own sake as well, your learning experience. It's okay if you start falling behind. We understand you have a lot of things going on for you. So again, it's not a punishment. And what else? If you're moved to a later batch, and it's probably because that's the pace you can better catch up with. So don't worry. Our staff also monitors your progress, so we know when you're falling behind or if you've missed sessions. So please don't miss more than 3 unit sessions or 3 1 1. Don't miss more than 3. We know like what happened to you or why you're struggling or having a hard time attending and all that. So at least we're also up to date with your situation or your case. So again, if you arrive late to this orientation, this will remain on YouTube as a regular video. So once the stream is over, you can refresh the page or click click on the link again. This video will be available so you can watch it over and over again or skip parts. So yeah, I think we can start wrapping up the session. And if you have further questions, like I said, email us at support@nlrc.ph. Personally, I'm super excited that there's so much interest towards working in Finland and going through the effort of learning the language to make it happen. So you deserve to give yourself a pat on your back for further investing in your knowledge. Like they said, knowledge is like one of the best gifts you can give yourself. So hopefully your studies here with us go smoothly. I know it can be super frustrating on many occasions since it's not the easiest way to learn a language with remote setup or doing self-study. Where you just have your textbook, your audio files, and yourself as a resource. But it may not be an ideal setup, although we definitely believe that you can do it no matter the circumstances. And the fact that you're going through all this language training to further improve yourself and make better opportunities for yourself in Finland, that's already a great achievement in itself. Use those one-on-one meetings with an instructor as a resource as well. If you have any concerns or questions or clarifications, do not be afraid to ask the instructors, and please do your own work. Keep things simple. Keep things simple. Don't use automatic translation. If you feel like you're not going to be using it in Finland, don't spend too much time on it. Just really get a grasp of the Finnish language in order for you to get by in Finland. I hope everything will be fine, and good luck on your learning journey. So don't be afraid to be a beginner. Allow yourself to suck at something. No one ever starts at the top. No one ever starts being great. Everyone started from somewhere. Everyone was once bad at something. So it's okay if you aren't like a fast learner or anything like that. So give yourself a chance. Just be confident. Your instructors or your group mates or batchmates or random partners won't judge you. You're all here to learn. You all have that one goal to get to Finland. So work with each other and don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't be afraid to ask questions. So let's cue in the music, and I'll teach you two phrases in Finnish. One is moi moi, which means bye bye, and the other one is nadan, which means see you. So moi moi and nadan. Good luck on your learning journey, and we are all rooting for you.